Good morning, everyone. Tractorman 44 here. You know, I tell the kids all the time, things change with a phone call. You might have your day planned. You know, you're going to go do this, you're going to go do that, you're going to go in the shed, you're going to work on this, work on that. Somebody gives you a call and boom, you know, you ain't doing that anymore. You're going to go do something else. A couple of days ago, a cousin of mine called, wanted me to see if I could help him move a little bit of rock into a foundation wall. So I went over yesterday at this, or a couple of days ago, at this old skid loader. And then I got my old 580 case down there very near too. So between the old skid loader here and that old 580 case, we put right at 100 tons of rock inside his foundation. Well, fast forward, I actually put it in reverse a couple of days. I was over at a lady friend of my wife fixing her furnace. She said, hey, her sister's father-in-law had a couple of trees blow down his yard. If I wanted to go get a couple of blue spruce, anytime we get a chance, go get them. So I dang this morning, we jumped in a truck. We went up there and picked up a couple of small trees. They're not too awful big, but I'm going to make a couple of saw logs out of them. That'll make a little video y'all will like. That's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to unload them couple of little video trees. Of course, before we unload them, I have to show you how we load them. You know, whenever you go off on an excursion, not seeing the job firsthand or knowing exactly what you're coming into, you have to kind of halfway be prepared for just about anything you want to run into. So I had a various assortment of different things, you know, for attaching, for loading, for dragging, for ramping, for anything that I thought we could possibly need. And then you just kind of play it by ear and then go for it whenever you get there. You know, you almost always succeed. Very seldom do you have to make a trip back home, you know, to get something else. And that's quite fortunate. But then I usually end up taking way too much stuff. But I've got several ramps. You can see 8-inch channel iron there right there. I'm going to have my wife actually run the wrench. And this is going to work out so simply. I'm just going to roll the log in line with that ramp and kind of adjust the tail end as necessary, you know, to keep it in line with the ramp. And once it breaks over center up on the trailer deck, it's you know, it's ours. That's just about all there are to it. Now I was prepared to have to roll it up, you know, by hand, up off of the edges, up over the edge of the trailer. I was prepared to disconnect the truck and use the truck as a mounting point for an electric winch I brought along, but didn't have to do that. This one worked out quite simple. And so I've got my wife actually loading the log. She goes along with me on many of excursions, many more in the past than what she does now. We always have a good time. You know, we just enjoy doing some crazy things, you know. She's a country girl at heart, even though she was born in a big city, you know what I mean. But at any rate, there's the old boy right there. That's my lady friend's sister's father-in-law. He's a good old guy. He does a lot of crafty things, and he was just tickled to death to see somebody get this that's going to put it to use. So we're going to continue on, get this guy nailed onto the trailer, bind it down, and then head over to get the other one at his daughter's house, which was just a few miles up the road, just a ways. So this worked out really well so far.
They'll kill the tree and leave it stand dead.
Now, all the way up to this point, my wife had been doing all the work. She was not only loading the log, she was doing all the filming too. But now it's time to move on to another tool that I've got to have her assistance on. So our old buddy is going to be filming here for a few minutes. That tool that you're seeing right there, that's really a unique tool, and it's from out on the old home place. You know, that's probably from the turn of the century. I'm talking 1800s to early 1900s, and that's it's a small logging tool for picking small pole wood, just like you see right there, or possibly it could have been a set of railroad tie-tongs, though I don't believe so. They do not resemble the typical tie-tong. I've got several sets of those from out on the home place as well, and they're solid steel. I really think these are small log tongs and used just for exactly what we're using them for here, because that's what we used them for whenever I was a kid. So at any rate, just kind of neat to highlight this old tool, and I'll show you something else cool about it in a second.
Man, this is like being at Silver Dollar City. Except the women are better looking.
What I was going to tell you about those tongs there was, if you noticed, whenever we turned the corner, the log stays straight between us as we turn. The skidding tongs actually pivot right there underneath the bottom of the piece of wood that we've got in our hands. That's really, really cool. Obviously, it wouldn't function very well without that feature. And obviously, the old timers, you know, they were pretty sharp. You know, they figured stuff out. You know, and it just worked. But at any rate, now, what do you think of this? I got a woman that not only helps me load logs, she gets up there and rolls stuff around like that. Man, I tell you what, I couldn't buy a better one in a catalog, could I? I think I'm going to keep this one around for a little while. She's only been here for 40-some years, but maybe I'll keep her for a little while longer. Well, we bound down the branches in that first log and headed on over to his daughter's house. This one here proved to be so much easier because the downed tree was actually up on a terrace. So we just merely backed in the driveway and set a couple of the 8-inch channel iron down for a ramp. Now, what process you're looking at right there, if you notice I put that chunk of wood there, that's called cutting a log. Cutting a log means nothing more than changing the direction of it. You can put a rock in place of it, a tree branch, or in the case like this, I just whacked an angle off of the end of the log and placed it there. Just give me something to bump up against, and kind of let you credit. You just change the angle to where you can line it up with your trailer or line it up with wherever you want it to roll. Sometimes the big ends of the log, they just kind of get to run in the head of the small end. So you put your chunk of wood there, you kind of cut it back in alignment, and then go for it again. So with this one here is pretty evenly sized, you know, from both ends of the log. So this actually worked out really, really nicely. So now we got to put the chains on, and hot doggies, we're about ready to head down the highway very shortly. Well, we stopped and had lunch. We're already home and time to unload this stuff. So gonna fire up the skid loader and get with it. You know, it might have been just a little bit easier if I had this thing along to load them with, but not really. You can't get in those people's yards and tear them all up. It's not bad doing things by hand. We enjoy it. So hey guys, it's just a quick little video. That happens all the time to me. I mean, I'll have something planned, something I'm wanting to do. I definitely want to get this done today. And hot doggies, the phone ring one time, and there I go 180 degrees in the other direction, like I'm killing snakes, you know what I mean? It was just a fun day. The wife was off from work, so she went along with me. I let her run the winch while I kind of rolled the log back and forth, you know. She's pretty good help at that. And then I got her to grab a hold of those old small logging tongs, whatever you want to call them. Now they're well over 100 years old. My God, those are from the late 1880s, 1890s, or somewhere in that area. That was out on my grandpa's farm and everything. But at any rate, I digress. It works out really good, you know, if you got two people willing to work a little bit, and you have, you know, something 12 inches in diameter or less that you want to move just a short distance. Or in some cases, if you're strong enough, you can move some pretty good material with that thing. And if you notice, they pivot when you turn the corner. Just as cool an old thing as you can imagine. But anyway, I got her out there, and she enjoyed it. She's not too stiff and sore yet this afternoon. I don't think she's going to be. I mean, you know, she's got a good grip on that frying pan, you know, all the time, you know, so it's not going to hurt her hands or anything. But at any rate, got a little bit of time in the last few days on the skid loader, a little bit of time on the old case backhoe. I got a little bit of chainsaw time. Didn't get to see any of that, though. Got to work on mow trailer, had 3 flat tires and a bunch of bad clearance lights and a bad tail light. So, and I didn't put that on film either. I mean, that's boring. You know, we are never bored around here, though. That might be boring to watch, but it's never boring day around here. Even if I sit in the chair with my feet propped up, Well, that doesn't happen too often either, but I guess it does occasionally for a few minutes here and there. But at any rate, like I said, the whole point of this video is just to show you that things change so quick, so often with just a phone call. You know, with my cousin calling the other day, wanting to move a little bit of rock, you know, and then having to go down and fix, you know, my wife's lady friend's furnace, you know, turned into picking up these little trees. That's going to be a nice little video. I'm going to get that old Oliver 88 running. That's the one I'm powering that sawmill with. Cut them up, make a couple little boards out of them. There won't be a whole lot there, but it'll be a fun time and a fun little video. And I need to get to wake that old 88 up. It's been sitting there sleeping. That's going to be a first start video on old Oliver 88. So hey, for now, this Trackman 44, and I am out of here.